A very good afternoon. Is it audible? Please let me know because there is some network trouble here. I have to switch off the camera for today because of heavy rain. It is, yeah, okay. So there can be network trouble, so I'll be switching off my camera, and if there is any trouble with the audio, please let me know. So in the last class, we have seen certain topics. So let's look into this week's current affairs. So some are, we have some continuity from the last class also that we will look into it. So for the first thing, we will look into polity. But before we start polity topic, as this one classical language, in the last week, we have seen narratives regarding Shabanu case regarding the Divorce Act, right? That was recently seen in news mostly, and that you can keep a tab on because as it is very popular, I have not put up here, and that is quite recurring also. Okay, I hope my audio is okay for you. Is it echoing or something? Is it clear enough? Can you please tell me? Is the audio okay? My voice is okay. Is it echoing? Okay. Just give me a minute. Now, is it okay? Is it better than before? Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I was just telling that under polity we had certain narratives that was going on, especially the highlighted one was uh, regarding the divorce, the Shabanu, the popular Shabanu case, or today what is called as Samad's case, Muhammad Samad's case, wherein the bench headed by one of the jury, that is the judge, uh, Mrs. Nagaratna herself, and she was one of the jury, wherein it was pronounced that the alimony given to the female or the wife or the divorced female, regarding that we had certain aspects. That is only for your awareness. You should be following the news because this is not something new, uh, and that has been happening from so many years. Okay, that is kind of an awareness where you have to apply some constitutional provisions. So you might have seen in the past classes also. I keep telling you that popular news will keep recurring. It keep repeating, and all that we have to do is keep a tab on it, have an awareness, and remotely is it related to constitution? That is what we have to see. But apart from that, UPSC would choose or pick some of the static part where it was also seen in news. That is where I pick my topics also. So for today's session from polity, I have picked the topic classical language. Okay. Let's see what is the news all about, and also some static part of classical language. Now, when we speak of classical language, let's see why it is in news first. So recently, the central government decided to modify the criteria for granting classical language status. Now, the news is regarding criteria to declare what is to be called as classical language. Andre classical language yaudella helboda illi mention madidini 6 languages ide anta. But can you tell me which are the classical languages so far what we have according to the constitution? Which are the various classical language? ಯಾವ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅಂತ. 22 na. There is a difference between scheduled languages and classical alva. I'm asking about classical languages. And I have mentioned we have 6 in number. So meanwhile, while we read this news first nodana, you can just think of it and you can tell me. Okay. So the government decided, is it 22? I've been asking you, like, there are 6 classical languages which have been granted classical language status. Okay, are there? I'm asking those 6. You are speaking about the 22 scheduled languages. New mother 8th scheduled. People who are answering, I'm asking about classical language. Anyway, meanwhile you can think and tell me. Let us go through the news now. So recently the central government decided to modify the criteria for granting classical language status. So this decision follows recommendations from the linguistics expert committee of the Union Culture Ministry. Enilla news enantandre ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೇನು ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ, ಮುಂಚೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ. ಎಸ್, ಗುಡ್, ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಎಸ್, ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಸಚ್ as ಕನ್ನಡ, ಮಲಯಾಳಂ, ತಮಿಳ್, ಒಡಿಯಾ, ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತ್, ತೆಲುಗು. ಎಸ್, ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಬೇರೆ, scheduled languages ಬೇರೆ. Don't get confused with that. Okay. Let's go through it. In 2004, the government of India created a new category of languages called classical language. So, ಯಾವ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ create ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು? 2004. Okay. Yes. We will see the constitutional provisions also. Sure. In 2006, criteria for conferring classical language status were established. Okay. So far, 6 languages have been granted classical language status. First time, new category create ಆಗುತ್ತೆ 2004 ಅಲ್ಲಿ. 2006 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾನ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ multilingual culture, alva, multilingual culture in the sense within the region we have languages, we have dialects. So from north to south, east to west, within the region, within the state, within the districts also, based on the communities, we have so many regional languages. So ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್, ಲಿಂಗ್ವಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅದು that comes under 8th schedule, right? And when we speak of classical language, it was a creation by the committee of the parliament itself. So ಇಷ್ಟು ತನಕ 6 languagesಗೆ classical language status ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So let's see the criteria what we already have. ಈಗ ಮುಂಚೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಏನು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ, because the news is regarding the government is going to modify the criteria to mark it as a classical language. So what are the criteria? The first point is early texts and recorded history dating back 1500 to 2000 years, demonstrating high antiquity. So ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಭಾಷೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ 2000 ಹಳೆಯದಾದ ಭಾಷೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿನೇ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಬೇರೆ ಭಾಷೆಗಳು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಹಳೆಯದಾಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗಿದ್ರೆ ಆಂಟಿಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆಂಟಿಕ್ವಿಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ oldest. So the history, we source out the origin of this language back to 2000 or 1500 to 2000 years. So first point ಇಂದ ನಾವೇನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತಿದ್ರೆ 1500 to 2000 years old ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ first point. Second, possession of substantial body of ancient literature and texts highly esteemed as cultural heritage across generations. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಈ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಿರುವಂತ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲಿಟರೇಚರ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೈಲಿ ಎಸ್ಟೀಮ್ಡ್ ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಹೆರಿಟೇಜ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ 2000 year old 1500 year old ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದಿರುವಂತ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ನಮಗೆ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಾಲಿಟಿ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲಿಟರರಿ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನ್ distinct from influences of other speech communities. So when we speak of the literary tradition, originality matters. Originality in the sense certain words where it has been origined, okay, that matters. Distinct from influences of other speech communities. ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರುವಂತ ಬೇರೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಪದಗಳ ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು ಈ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಒರಿಜಿನ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು. Okay, that is the idea here. So next point is classical language and literature distinct from modern forms, potentially showing the discontinuity between classical language and its later developments of derivative language. So what is the meaning of the last point here means when we identify a particular language as a classical language, it should be different or distinct from the modern forms of language. And when we compare the modern language with the classical language, it should show discontinuity or there should be no similarity. That means it has to have its own uniqueness. Adikke navu classical language anta kariteve. So let's brief it up. So one is old, antiquity, that is the timeline is 1500 to 2000. Then possession, especially to have literature and text, old literature and text should be there. Third, originality in literary tradition, it has to have its own origin of words. Then fourth is different from the modern language. Ishtu nalku criteria you can see in the image here. These are the various languages in the past or it has been declared. So you can also see that the very first language to be declared as classical language is Tamil, right? Tamil. Then we have Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada by 2008, Malayalam, Odia. Odia was the latest to be added to classical language. Okay, earliest is Tamil, and it is easy for you to remember. We already know that the oldest language of the world is Tamil. Likewise, remember the first classical language to be categorized or to be identified in India was also Tamil. Ishtu criteria. Okay, clear with this. Now, ನಮಗೆ ನಾವು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಈಗ ಈ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ನೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ ಅವೇರ್ನೆಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ನ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ನ ಏನೋ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ಗೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಈಗ ಬೆಂಗಾಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೆಂಗಾಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಪೆಟಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಆರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್. ತುಳು ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೊಂಕಣಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, all these are in the line to be added as classical language, but it has its own criteria and the criteria na meet ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So these languages, even Marathi, yes, Marathi also. So these languages or the people who are speaking these languages are questioning the criteria, Assamese or Bodo. So there are ಈಗ ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪೆಟಿಷನ್ ಇದೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಆಡೆಡ್ ಆಸ್ classical language of that. But when we keep up with the same criteria, what happens, it can actually negate the or remove the very importance of the rest of the regional languages, because all these maybe Bengali, Tulu, Konkani, Marathi, Assamese, even they have their literature. Sometimes just because there are no evidences that are as old as these classical languages, we cannot deny anta idu arguments ನಡೀತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ government it is planning to modify the criteria so that if at all we can add any other languages. By the time you give your exams, there is a possibility where it can be added, or maybe simple question on classical language. Even though the news is on classical language, question can be asked on 8th schedule also. Scheduled language melenu kelbodu. Adakoskara let's have a quick revision of the constitutional provisions. Okay, when it comes to language, last class allo saha ನಾವು language ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, if you remember. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ? Last 2 classes. One is in one of the sessions we have spoken about. Anyone can recollect regarding the language you have spoken about? If you can recollect, you can tell me last class. Okay. Anyway, this one we will see. The 8th schedule of the Constitution aims to promote the progressive use of Hindi and enrich and promote the language. So 8th schedule alli ide clear age progressive use of Hindi. There is no compulsion use of Hindi. Compulsion illa, progression. Yes, good. Usage of language is in laws. In the last class we discussed. Then Article 344 Section 1 mandates the President to constitute a commission after 5 years from the Constitution's commencement to facilitate the official use of Hindi. So, Article 344 Section 1, President can constitute or is supposed to constitute a commission after 5 years from the Constitution's commencement. Andre Constitution frame ಆಗದಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್ ಆಗದಲ್ಲಿಂದ to facilitate the official use of Hindi. ಇದು ಒಂದು provision ನಮಗೆ Article 344 clause 1 ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. We already know the narratives or the controversies surrounding regarding Hindi being the language. So most of the regional areas in India are not so welcoming about Hindi language. And again we go back to Constitution, just checking that is Hindi ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಭಾಷಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವ, official language ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವ, ಅದು which is one of the languages which can be used. So still that debate continues, correct? So in the northern part maybe Hindi is prominent, but in southern Hindi is not the first of all any official language, or it is not the prominent language. So still the debate continues. But when the majority in so as I told you, there is real network trouble, so I might disconnect or log out at times, so please cooperate for that, wherein I will rejoin. Okay, you can wait for a few minutes if at all, if I log out, okay, all of a sudden. So please wait for a few minutes until I rejoin. So as we were speaking about constitutional provision, okay, 344, as one of you have mentioned in the chat box already, that 344 from 351 speaks about Hindi as a language, wherein how to spread Hindi, the duty, the how it is considered as an official language and all that, to spread and develop Hindi as a medium of expression for India's diverse cultural elements, so that if there are people who are talking, I mean, majority of the population is talking in Hindi, so that could act as a medium of instruction or expression to make India as one. But again, there are discontent or differences about this thought, so it has remained like that. Then the eighth schedule currently includes 22 languages. So this is what you all were, some of you were mentioning about when I asked you about classical language. So eighth schedule ಅಲ್ಲಿ 22 languages ಇದೆ. ಇದು Assamese, Bengali. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು ನಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಯಾವುದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ? ಕನ್ನಡ, then we have Odia, then we have Tamil, Telugu, Sanskrit, right? Then what is left? Yeah. So these are the Malayalam is also there, I guess. So these are the some of the classical languages among the scheduled languages. But innu ishtu languages they are asking for classical status, so that once the criteria is modified, they can also join. This is the idea. So how they were included? So initially eighth schedule anta bandaga, initially 14 languages were included. Sindhi was added in 1967 through the 21st Amendment Act. ಈ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮುಂಚೆ. This language was added under which amendment act, or which this amendment act has added which of the following languages? Okay, try to by heart and try to remember it. So 21st Amendment Act Sindhi, 71st Amendment Act of 1992 Konkani, Manipuri, Nepali. ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಬಹುದು, ಇದನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆನಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್, ಮೆನಿ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ 92nd ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಸ್ಕೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತ? ಬೋಡೋ, ಡೋಗ್ರಿ, ಮೈಥಿಲಿ, ಸಂತಾಲಿ. Okay, so total we have 22. Now as we have the news regarding only to modify the criteria, ಹಳೆ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ, ಇನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಫೈ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, 4 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತು ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ನೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದ ಸ್ಕೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್. ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಕಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ರೈಟೀರಿಯಾ ಆಲ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್. Keep that in mind. Okay, so Hindi as a language, that is a different topic altogether. When we get news regarding that in future, we can speak about it. As of now, just focus on classical language. Even in your polity Lakshmikant book also, you have a detailed idea about classical languages. Maybe you can revise that static part. Hope it is clear. Okay, then moving on, we will speak about art and culture. Any popular caves you have heard about in India? Can you mention oldest cave or any popular caves that comes to your mind? Anybody? Yana. Okay, that is in Karnataka. Okay, then any other? Very good. Bimbedka caves. Bimbedka caves is in which state? Very good. Udayagiri caves. Good. Bimbedka, Udayagiri. Bimbedka is in Madhya Pradesh. Good. Udayagiri? Odisha. Yes. Any other? Very good. Ajanta and Ellora. Good. Then Okay, so why we consider cave as a very important area in UPSC? Because past only ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ questions. Okay, Yana caves, I think they would ask in state level exams. ನಾವು ಈಗ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಉದಯಗಿರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಂದಗಿರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್, ಉದಯಗಿರಿ, ಕಂದಗಿರಿ, then Bimbedka caves, Ajanta, Ellora. Questions have been asked on this. Okay, one question that I can remember of the old in the previous year, the Buddha's Padmapani painting is in which of the caves? That answer is Ajanta and Ellora. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ questions ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ they have asked in match the pairs. Caves and their what do you call as maybe historical time period, or maybe the prominent painting over there, or maybe which state itself. Directly it's been asked. Okay, where do you have this Barapar caves? Uttar Pradesh. Okay, the oldest cave art or caves, one of the SU. Good. So ಈ caves ನಿಮಗೆ ನೀವು ಆರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವೀಗೇನ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅದು. ಎನಿವೇ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. Okay, but see, this is one this current affairs comes in handy because it keeps on reminding you to go back to one of the important topics. Because obviously in the exam what is being asked, ಏನ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಕ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it becomes like a clue, a hint to go back and revise the topics. That is what I say. Even in the current affairs session also, when the classes are when the topics are discussed, you note down this, what are the static areas I have to study. Soon after the class, give some time for it, go and revise. If you do this every week, so you are in tandem with, or you are going along with the current affairs, and also you are revising your static part. That is how it is going to help you. Okay, now let's look into the news. Okay, then we will speak of all the other things. So in recent research has dated the world's oldest known figurative cave painting to approximately 51,200 years ago using a new dating technique. ನಾವೇನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಳೆದು ಅಂತ, ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ವಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇವ್, ಬಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ ಡೇಟ್ ನ ಕಂಡಿಡಿದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್. ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆಯಲ್ವಾ, ಯುರೇನಿಯಂ ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಯು two ideas or two elements. One is regarding the cave, the other one is about the technique that is being used to identify the timeline. ಎರಡು ವಿಷಯಗಳು. Okay, one is regarding the cave, the other one is what technique is being used to identify or date or mark the timeline. Now, the painting is situated on the ceiling of a limestone cave located in the island of Sulawesi, Indonesia. So ellide world's oldest cave art Indonesia dallide. Okay, Indonesia dallide. So we will see what are its some of the key points. We can look into it. You can see in the image also here in this region. So this is the thing, but it is very difficult to identify for anybody, like what is this painting all about alva. Ee ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋ ಒಂದು ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಗೆ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಳೆಯದು ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಒಂದು ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay, so we'll see. So basically this is about Bimbedka. This image what you are seeing here is Bimbedka. Okay, I've just put up because to draw a parallel. This Sulawesi cave art, Sulawesi of Indonesia ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಬಿಂಬೆಟ್ಕಾಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿರೋದು. Actual image is this. Okay, so one can look into it. Actually ಇದರದು key terms ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ a pig standing still with its mouth partly open. I don't know whether you can actually see. So this is the pig here. Okay, so this is how this part is been identified. Okay, and there are three human like figures also around, it seems. Then basically there are people, and also there is a pig. That is the image we are getting from here. So ಇದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಏನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಯಾವ ಎರಾಗೆ ನಾವು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು, ಲೈಕ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಪಿಗ್ or people standing around the pig. So what idea does it give? Is it Neanderthals or Homo sapiens or ಯಾವ ಎರಾಗೆ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಎರಾಗೆ ಇದು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಲೂ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Okay, this is the idea of this Sulawesi cave in Indonesia. So what is the technique they have used? We can look into it. The technique they have used is called as uranium series analysis or uranium technique. We know that carbon dating technique is the most popular one. So researchers utilized uranium series analysis of calcite deposits in the limestone caves to date rock art, which is most efficient technique of identifying the cave art. Okay, so ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ laser beams ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ ಕೇವಲ್ laser, they'll use the laser beams and they'll compare the what do you call as isotopes ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Isotopes ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ they'll check the isotopes present in the material. That is, isotopes is the definition goes like this: isotope is a variant of an atom within the same element. ಒಂದು ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಐಸೋಟೋಪ್ಸ್, or ಯುರೇನಿಯಂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಐಸೋಟೋಪ್ಸ್, ಥೋರಿಯಂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಐಸೋಟೋಪ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ಆಟಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿವೈಡೆಡ್ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ನ ಐಸೋಟೋಪ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಈ ಮೆಥಡ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಲೇಸರ್ ಬೀಮ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿತಾರೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹೌ ದ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಮೆಥಡಾಲಜಿ ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಇಸ್ uranium series or U series analysis is used to identify the rock art or to determine the date of a particular art ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಫಾಸಿಲ್ಸ್ ಗೆ, ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಯುರೇನಿಯಂ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್. Okay, so they employed laser beam to compare the ratio of uranium isotopes to thorium isotopes, determining the age of the paintings. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ಇಷ್ಟೇ. ಬಟ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಡೋನೇಷಿಯಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳೋದ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕೇವ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ಕೇವ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಸೇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್: ಡೆಸ್ಪೈಟ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ರಾಕ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಧ್ಯಪ್ರದೇಶ್, ದೇರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬೀನ್ ಅ ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ನೇಚರ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಟ್. ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಬಿಂಬೆಟ್ಕ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಓಲ್ಡೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಬಟ್ have we used any such what do you call as technique so far? No, there is no such dating method we have used to identify such things. Wherein the oldest paintings in Bhimbedka in Madhya Pradesh are estimated to about 30,000 years old. This painting what we are talking about, rock art cave, so rock cave art here, it is 51,200. It is no lesser here. It is almost 30,000 years old. ಯಾವುದು ಬಿಂಬೆಟ್ಕ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ, ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ರಿಸರ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಸೇ ದಟ್ ಯುರೇನಿಯಂ ಸೀರೀಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ವುಡ್ ನೋ ದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಏಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಅಂತ. ಅದು ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆನ್ಸ್. ಮತ್ತು ಸೊ ರಿಸರ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಫೈಂಡ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ರೀತಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಆನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಕೇವ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಯೂಶುವಲಿ it has more or deeper historical roots than what we actually think. Now ಒಂದು approximate ಆಗಿ ಒಂದು year ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ, but it could be even more older than that, because when we speak of before even Homo sapiens, Homo erectus or Neanderthals ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ, this is a very important area. ಮುಂಚೆನೂ ಕೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಆಗಿ, ಬಟ್ today we see a lot of news regarding Neanderthals or maybe the discovery, the studies and all that. So Neanderthals, recently Tibet alone news it, the fossils which are found in Tibet, Neanderthals. So take this as a very important topic and know anything and everything about it. Prehistoric times alle ಅಥವಾ history ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನೀವು ತಗೊಬಹುದು. Neanderthals andre yaru, what is the timeline, what was their uniqueness, and why are we learning about them? This also matters, because when we speak of Neanderthals themselves, they started marking caves around 75,000 years ago. So e cave 51 years old. So we may never know what if some of the caves can date back to Neanderthals. So this will provide a very good insight for us to understand the emergence. When did this visual art actually emerged? ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಈ ಪೇಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಾವಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇನ್ಸೈಟ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಕಂಡಿಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ Bhimbedka, as we were just comparing and it is also mentioned in the news, you can go through that. So Bhimbedka is located in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, almost it has more than 500 paintings within the cave, which is 30,000 year old. Okay, so some more details regarding this can be collected, and also you can list out various rock or cave art in India in various caves. ಎಷ್ಟು ಹಳೇದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ರಿವಿಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, so this is about this world's oldest cave art, which is in Indonesia. Okay, and the method used is uranium series method rather than carbon dating method. Now, next is regarding governance. Let's speak of governance. World Zoonoses Day. World Zoonoses Day is regarding the zoonotic diseases. Okay, zoonotic diseases. Recently, the government or under Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying had marked or celebrated World Zoonoses Day by the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying by to create an awareness about zoonosis or zoonotic diseases. Zoonotic diseases andre enu? Zoonotic refers to the diseases that can get transferred between animals and humans. Okay, so why we are learning this topic? Okay, World Zoonosis Day irli, let it be there, but the idea here is July 6th anta. Adre ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ನಾವು whatever we are witnessing, the diseases lately are mostly zoonotic. So certain times the questions can be asked like, which of the following are zoonotic or which of the following are not zoonotic diseases anta kelidaga you should be knowing the list of it. That is why we are learning this topic. Okay, what comes under zoonotic? First is the definition we should be knowing, then the list. Let's look into the news now. On the eve of World Zoonosis Day, the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying organized an interactive session. World Zoonosis Day is celebrated in the honor of Louis Pasteur, who administered the first successful rabies vaccine. It namage gottide, now school level alli kaltidive alva. Louis Pasteur was the person who administered the first vaccine, successful vaccine for rabies. So aa dinana celebrate ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ, marking that day, because rabies means again it is one of the prominent zoonotic diseases caused by dogs ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ದಿನನ ನಾವು ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಝೂನೋಸಿಸ್ ಡೇ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Zoonosis or zoonotic diseases are infectious diseases that can transfer between animals and humans. Which are those? Rabies, anthrax, influenza, that is H1N1 ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, H5N1 ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಸ್ವೈನ್ ಫ್ಲೂ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಸ್ವೈನ್ ಫ್ಲೂ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ H5N1. ಸೊ ನಿಪಾ ವೈರಸ್ caused by bats, bird flu, yes, bird flu ಮತ್ತೆ swine flu, yes. COVID-19 ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. COVID-19, it did not only marked or it showed the signs of diseases or infections only in humans, but also it also affected animals, or there is also studies that is made how it got transferred from animals to humans also. Adu ide. Then brucellosis and tuberculosis, TB. So ishtu zoonosis ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. As a part of diseases ಅಂತಾನೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಇದೆ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಬೋದು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಇದು ಗವರ್ನೆನ್ಸ್ ಯಾಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡೇ ಇಸ್ ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರೇಟೆಡ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಬಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. Know about zoonotic diseases. Okay, so these diseases are caused by various pathogens. Pathogens mean, what do you understand by pathogens? Disease causing agents. It can be bacteria, virus, parasites, fungi. Together we use an umbrella word called as pathogens. Okay, now this is the brief up about the news. Then let's understand in detail what are zoonotic and non-zoonotic diseases. So many non-zoonotic diseases affect livestock without posing a risk to human health also. Adunu matter agutte. So esto non-zoonotic andre, just remember zoonotic is transfer of diseases between animals to humans. Okay, Some non-zoonotic diseases do affect livestock without posing risk to human health. So examples ಇದೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ non-zoonotic ನಾವು zoonotic ಇವಾಗಷ್ಟೇ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. Non-zoonotic examples ಏನು? Foot and mouth disease, which is commonly seen in cattle. Then we have something called as PPR, pest day petitus ruminants. Ruminants, again, it is in the cattle. Lumpy skin disease was quite popular last year. Alla tumba ittu. Again, which is seen on the cattle's body. Lumps barutte ella body mele. Lumpy skin disease. Then classical swine fever. Handi jwara anta enanta kariteve. Ranikhet disease. What is this Ranikhet disease? Can anyone tell me? What is it related to? Ranikhet disease. It is caused by what? It is actually yes, it is a viral disease. Okay, it is a viral disease, not bacteria, viral disease, especially caused by birds, by poultry. Okay, so you can name many more. One I'll also mention one more. Casanor disease anta kelidira? It is related to what? Casanor forest disease. Yes, it is in northeast part of Manina, monkey. Casanor forest disease. Caused by, can we consider it as zoonotic disease? Mangana kaile. Adu ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ zoonotic ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದಾ? Yes, it is zoonotic. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್. ಎಸ್, ಇದನ್ನ ನಮಗೆ KPSC ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಸನೋರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮುಂಚೆ. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಲಿ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ. ಓಕೆ, ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ನೋಯಿಂಗ್ zoonotic ಮತ್ತು ನಾನ್ zoonotic. Yes, it is monkey and it is confined to Casanor of Shivamogga district, and that is why it is called as Casanor forest disease. Okay, about 60% of all the diseases are zoonotic. Usually ella diseases alli anta ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ 60% are zoonotic and 70% of the emerging infections originate from animals. ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ zoonotic ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫರ್ ಆದಾಗ zoonotic ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay, but just because it emerges from the animals, that are not called as zoonotic, it just becomes an infectious diseases which originate from animals. It affects only animals atara. So prevent ee riti ee lumpy skin disease idella transfer agala human beings get the foot and mouth disease alva. Classical swine fever idella athwa Ranikhet disease, which is seen in hen or chicken or poultry. So prevention and control of zoonotic diseases rely on vaccination, good hygiene, animal husbandry practices, and vector control through the One Health approach. So the DAHD, that is the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy, has launched a nationwide campaign for Brucella vaccination of bovine calves. Idunu puna cattle gen under the National Animal Disease Control Program, and undertaken rabies vaccination under assistance to states for control of animal disease. ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅದು ಈ ಬ್ರುಸೆಲ್ಲಾ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ರೇಬಿಸ್ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನೇಷನ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ನೇಷನ್ ವೈಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪೇನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. Then India accounts for 11% and 18% of the global livestock and poultry population respectively. Andre we are contributing for this, and additionally India is the largest producer of milk and second largest producer of eggs globally. Idondu namge factual statement kuda sigutte ee news alli, because there are questions, statements being asked regarding the largest production, consumption, ee ರೀತಿಯಾದ questions, factual questions ಮುಂಚೆನೂ ಕೇಳಿದರೆ. There are chances to be asked also, so you should be knowing. It may be fish, it may be milk, it may be egg, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಅಥವಾ ರೈಸ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ಟೀ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್, ಏನೇ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಫುಡ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್, ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ we should be having an idea, where does India stand. Okay, so here now we got the idea. India is the largest producer of milk, and it all makes sense because of the livestock rearing, or the cattle we rear, right? And second largest producer of eggs globally. ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಷ್ಟಿದ್ದಾಗ when we are the largest producer of milk and second largest of eggs globally, we should rethink about the zoonotic diseases in India. So it is not only about the animals here, livestock here, it is also about the risk that is being causing to human health. That also matters. That is why this awareness program is being held, and that makes this topic very relevant and important to the exam. Let's look into this is just an image wherein how it can transfer. So it can be vector-borne disease like a fly or a flea or a mosquito. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ವೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ವೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ the parasites, sorry, the pathogens or the viruses uses a vector. For example, fly ಅಥವಾ mosquitoes ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ವೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಾರ್ನ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಮಲೇರಿಯಾಗೆ mosquito is the vector carrier, but malaria is actually caused by the virus present in mosquito alva. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ we can call it as vector borne disease. Then we have airborne, waterborne disease from the water. Then we have like TB, for example, can be an example. Then airborne, waterborne, TB, tuberculosis. It is also caused by a bacteria. Then proximity or direct contact to animals, cats ಅಥವಾ dogs, ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇರುವಂತ ಅಥವಾ ಒಡನಾಟ ಅಥವಾ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇಂದನೂ ಅದರ ಸಲೈವ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಕಿನ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅದರಿಂದನೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Then foodborne, by consumption of the livestock, by consumption of this meat or poultry or flesh, basically meat. So through this also zoonotic diseases can occur. So these are the basic points. Okay, the takeaway from this topic is know the list of zoonotic diseases and non-zoonotic diseases. Hope it is clear. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು very important point ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿನೂ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ to make it more critical, virus, bacteria, fungi, that also matters. Whether the disease is a viral disease, bacterial disease, fungal infection. So bacterial anta andaga we can take an example of TB. Virus andaga COVID alva, COVID ಅಥವಾ anthrax virus ಅದು ಆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಚೇಂಜ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್ ಯಾವ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಮೇ ಬಿ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಯು ಲರ್ನ್ ಇಟ್. But if possible, make a list of at least ಎಲ್ಲ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಒಂದು 5-6 ನಿಮಗೆ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಡಿಸೀಸಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಈಸಿ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಎಲಿಮಿನೇಟ್. ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ದಿರೋದನ್ನ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ now we will go to the next one, geography. So there is a small spelling mistake here. This is Mount T. Okay, Mount Etna and Mount Stromboli was recently in use. I've taken this again because in the last few months, when the current affairs classes are done, throughout the year, at least last few months, we have seen various active volcanoes erupted and various news regarding volcanoes were there. And 2024 prelims ali volcano ಬಗ್ಗೆ question ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. I have mentioned that also, wherein ಜಾಗದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿ they would ask basic question about types of volcano ashte. So I keep repeating because in ene news irli pick out the static part, go and revise ashte bekagirutte. So you'll be more confident about the topics also. So let's look into the news now. So recently volcanic eruptions at Mount Etna and Stromboli in Italy, both are in Italy, okay, Italy, have resulted in the release of hot ash and lava. Just the mention of the volcano has been given here, and that's why the airport has been closed on that. So we will be focusing on what type of volcanoes these are. So Mount Etna, located on the island of Sicily in southern Italy, is the highest peak in Italy south of Alps, and Stromboli is a small island in Tyrrhenian Sea off the north coast of Sicily in Italy. It is one of the most continuously Stromboli ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವು. It is one of the most continuously active volcanoes in the world, and it is known as the lighthouse of Mediterranean. Mount Stromboli is considered as lighthouse of the Mediterranean. Okay, so we will see the details. I mean, location is enough. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಇದೆರಡು ಒಂದೇ ತರನಾದ ಒಂದು ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಲ್ಕೆನೋ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಸಿಂಪ್ಲಿ ರ್ಯಾಂಡಮ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಲ್ಕೆನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನೋನ್ ಅಬೌಟ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೈಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತದೆ, ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರೀಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ಸ್ ಟೈಪ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಲ್ಕೆನೋ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್? What are the various types of volcano? We have active volcano, dormant volcano, extinct volcano. So active, extinct, and dormant. ಇದು ಯಾವ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪೀರಿಯಾಡಿಸಿಟಿ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ರೀಕ್ವೆನ್ಸಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಲ ಎರಪ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. whether it is active, extinct, never erupted in the recent past, and it is almost extinct under extinct, it never erupted at all ಅದನ್ನ extinct ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. dormant ಗೆ when there is chance of erupting but in the last few years it has not erupted, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ dormant ಅಂತ. ಅದು periodicity ಮೇಲೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. What are the other classifications of volcanoes? Yes, Vesuvian antana. Okay, Vesuvian. Okay. Intrusive, extrusive. Good. Intrusive, extrusive anta andre depending upon the lava that gets out of it. Yes. Extrusive anta andre it can be again super volcanoes. Okay. ಈ shape of the volcanoes basis ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು types ಇದೆ. shape basis ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ash ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ 3 types ಇದೆ. major 3 types ಯಾವೆಲ್ಲ shapes ಅಲ್ಲಿ shield volcanoes, cone volcanoes, composite volcanoes. Shield, cone and composite. Then when we depending upon the shape of the volcano, shield or cone or composite depending upon the way the lava that comes out. Correct? Maybe slope al barutta, the most abundant ಅಥವಾ layers agutta. For example, composite anta andaga, composite cones anta andaga they form layers. When we speak of cones it is most abundant. When we speak of shield it creates low slope, sorry. Correct. Yes, so these are the types. Now coming back to these two, Pelian type also. Sorry, Linean. So when we speak of nature of eruption of volcanoes based on the location, some volcanoes are called as Hawaiian volcano, Strombolian volcano, Volcanian volcano, Linean volcano, Islandic volcano. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ depending upon the nature of eruption. Okay, depending upon the nature of eruption. So ಈ Mount Etna ಮತ್ತು Mount Stromboli ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಟೋ ವಾಲ್ಕನೋಸ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೀವಿ. These have the structure of stratovolcanoes, or simply we can say ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ Stromboli ತರ ಅಥವಾ ಈಗ Strombolian volcano ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ why Stromboli is very important because the magma or the magma is in the form of gas bubbles. As this is one of the most prominent popular volcano, ಯಾವ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಬಲ್ಸ್ ತರ ಲಾವಾ ಇಂದ ಆಚೆ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಬೋಲಿಯನ್ ಅಂತಾನು ಕರಿಬಹುದು. ಬಟ್ ಇದು ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಟೋ ವಾಲ್ಕನೋಸ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Now it might be confusing because we have discussed too many. What you have to do is first categorize ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಯಾವ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, whether it is shape, whether it is eruption, whether it is intrusive or exclusive, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ಮಾ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು write examples for each. In your basic geography class, static class, you might have learned. Okay, now it is time for your revision if at all it is done already. Now stratovolcano ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ details ನೋಡೋಣ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ these two are actually stratovolcanoes, which are those Mount Etna ಮತ್ತು Mount Stromboli. So what are stratovolcanoes? Stratovolcanoes are known for their explosive eruptions which can produce pyroclastic flows, lava bombs and volcanic ash clouds. So stratovolcanoes, these are the features. They often have steep symmetrical profiles and can reach great heights. Stratovolcanoes are tall, conical, built up by layers of hardened lava, ash and rock fragments. You might think that ಎಲ್ಲ volcanoesಗೂ ಸೇಮ್ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಇದು ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಾಲ್ಕೆನೋಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಯೂನಿಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Then it will be easy for you to remember. Okay, so typically found above subduction zones. Very important point. Subduction zones ಮೇಲೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so often part of large volcanically active regions such as ring of fire around the Pacific Ocean. I have put up this map for you to just revise this ring of fire. ಇದನ್ನ ring Pacific ring of fire ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So stratovolcanoes ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ in this Pacific ring of fire, this entire region, so which includes New Zealand in the Pacific Island countries in the, so we have in the eastern part the Pacific Ocean again here this side, then Aleutian Trench, that is North America, Aleutian Islands in the trench barutte. Then we have western part of North America and also South America. So this is called as Pacific Ring of Fire. In this Pacific Ring of Fire, stratovolcanoes are common, or they are predominantly found here. Okay. Then famous examples of stratovolcanoes include Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount Vesuvius in Italy, and Mount St. Helens in the United States. Some of the prominent has been given here. You can add more. So one thing is the pattern will be asked. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು type of volcano ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿ features ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ mentioning one of the names of the volcano, and they would ask what type of volcano is this. So how do we learn about it? What you can do is recent ಆಗಿ erupt ಆಗಿರುವಂತ volcanoes ಒಂದು list ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Have a list of recently erupted volcano or recently which are in news. Then it is easier for you what type of volcano it is, what is the location. Your job is done. That is how you learn. Clear with this? ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಗಿಂದಿರೋದು ಆಗಿರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ. ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನೋಟ್ ಡೌನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದು ಯಾವ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಲ್ಕೆನೋ ಅದ್ರ ಫೀಚರ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ that will do the job. Okay, then this is what we have under geography. Now moving on to economy. Balance of payments was recently in news. Balance of payments. According to recent data from the Reserve Bank of India, India's current account recorded a surplus in the fourth quarter of 2023-24 fiscal year. So, surplus, balance of payment alli surplus ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ fourth quarter ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. But the article explains, this was in Indian Express, article explains what is balance of payments. It is a very static part in economics for your Indian economy, while you learn. That's why we are learning this. So what is this? What do you call as balance of payments? Okay, so this marks the first surplus in 11 quarters, last 11 quarters. ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು Q1, Q2, Q3 ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, for the very first time balance of payments ಅಲ್ಲಿ surplus ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ ಅಂತ. So surplus ಅಂದ್ರೆ profit ಅಥವಾ gain ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ವಾ. The achievement underscores the importance of BOP, emphasizing its influence on currency exchange rates, sovereign rates, and overall economic well-being. ಯಾಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಸೈನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ? This is an achievement because the last 11 quarters we have surplus and deficit. Okay, concept is surplus and deficit. But after 11 quarters, for the very first time, it shows surplus, and it is a good news and it is an achievement. And why this has happened? Because its influence on currency exchange, sovereign ratings, overall economic well-being. Andre India is doing well in its economic terms anta ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅಥವಾ international level ಅಲ್ಲಿ. So let's look into the key points regarding what exactly is this balance of payments and why does it matter when we say there is a surplus in balance of payments. Okay, so the balance of payments is a, okay, there is some points that has been missed out. Give me just a minute, I'll just change this, just reshare the slide again. payments. The balance of payment is a crucial economic indicator detailing financial transaction between India and the world. So it is not within India. Basically, India's export ಮತ್ತು imports ಮೇಲೆ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಬೀರುವಂತದ್ದಾಗಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ foreign reserves ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ important ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay, balance of payments. So yes, so it tracks money inflows and outflows, with inflows marked as positive, outflows negative. So ಎಷ್ಟು income ಅಥವಾ money inflow ಆಗುತ್ತೆ into the nation, that is considered as positive, and when it is outflow, it is negative. Then this ledger reflects India's economic interactions globally. So inflow ಮತ್ತು outflow ಏನು mention ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ how strong is India's economy or its interactions with the other countries or globally. So the balance of payments measures demand for the rupee against foreign currencies. It significantly influences exchange rates and economic stability. So ishtu main details ashtu ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, balance of payments ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು list of financial transactions that happens between India and the world. So ಯಾವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ inflow ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು positive BOP ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಥವಾ surplus ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. When there is more outflow, it is called as a deficit or negative. Okay, so ಈ balance of payments ಅಲ್ಲಿ we have this types of accounts also. Idna neevu static part alli kaltirtira. So the balance of payment, there are two types of accounts: current account and capital account. Have you learned about this yet in your class? Current account ಮತ್ತು capital account ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು current account ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Current account ಕೆಳಗೆ we have the following criteria, following divisions, such as you can see: merchandise, that is exports and imports of goods, and invisibles. Imports and exports ಕೆಳಗೆ services ಬರುತ್ತೆ, banking, telecom ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ invisibles ಕೆಳಗೆ services, employee compensation, all these are the factors, transfers, gifts. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you should be literally knowing which of these factors comes under current account, what comes under capital account. Capital account ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಈಸಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, because capital account is all about the long term part, like foreign investment, loan, then ಮತ್ತು NRI deposits, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ capital account. Current account ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the quick movement of the cash or the monetary aspects, so that will come under current account. Okay, yes. So transaction of goods and services in daily basis is current account. Exactly. So in the long term ಗೆ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Capital account ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Yes, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? Trade of goods, trade of services. So ಇದು ಎರಡರದ್ದು net of these two components determines the current account balance. ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ in simple terms, current account is nothing but trade of goods and services. Okay, trade of goods and services. So trade of goods ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ physical imports ಮತ್ತು exports ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು it indicates the balance of trade. ಎಷ್ಟು import ಮತ್ತು export ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. Balance of trade ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. What is balance of trade? Balance of trade is nothing but total transaction of imports and exports. So ಜಾಸ್ತಿ import ಆಗಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ export ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಡೆಫಿಸಿಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇಂಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಸರ್ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಡಸ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಮೀನ್. ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ services here refers to tourism, it may be IT, information technology, and remittances. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ trade of services ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. The net of these two components determines the current account balance. Okay, so ಅದೇ ಈಗ Q4 ಅಲ್ಲಿ, fourth quarter ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2023-24 ಅಲ್ಲಿ India has registered a surplus on the current account. Current account ಅಲ್ಲಿ surplus ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? That means the flow, what do you call as the surplus in invisible but a deficit in trade account. Trade account ಅಲ್ಲಿ actually deficit, but the current account ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು surplus ತೋರಿಸಿದೆ. So ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು which is appreciated ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So capital account ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಬರುತ್ತೆ? What is capital account? Capital account refers to capture investment, so the long term investment for overall economic growth. ಅಂದ್ರೆ entire countryದು economic growth ನ ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. economic growth and stability. Capital account speaks about. Okay. So the capital account reflects such as borrowings ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, banking investments ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, loans and capital ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ capital account. Okay. So ನೀವು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಈ ಇಮೇಜ್ ನ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಪಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, there can be a question, which of the following are part of capital account? Option A, foreign investment. Option B, the kid asked the services. Option C, banking. So you should be able to identify what comes under current account, what comes under capital account. ಇಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. Apart from that, basically surplus ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು, ಡೆಫಿಸಿಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ UPSC ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. KPSC there can be chance direct exact deficit surplus ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. But UPSC they do not go for factual part. They simply ask for the items or the factors that come under current and capital account. Okay. Then we'll move on to one more very intriguing and interesting news, that is ostrich. We know where do we see ostrich, or what is the geographical range of ostrich, the fastest running bird on land? Ostrich antakshana ನಾವು, is it Australia or Africa? Africa yes. Do we have ostriches in India? Ostrich in India, I'm not speaking about zoo. I'm talking about its natural habitat. Is India ostrich natural habitat? Illa alva. So why am I taking this particular news again? 2023 prelims alli, yes, okay, we do not have them in India. Natural habitat illa. Yake ನಾವು ಈ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ನ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 2023 prelims alli there was a question asked on marsupials. If you remember, if you recollect, ಅಂದ್ರೆ kangaroo news alittu, but they asked question on marsupials. So India do not have any marsupials. What are marsupials? Before we go to this topic, I'm just explaining the relevancy of this topic. Marsupials are the mammals which lack placenta, yes, or carry the younger ones in their pouch. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು marsupials ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. We do not have any marsupials in India, but UPSC ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳಿತ್ತು. ಯಾಕೆ ಕೇಳಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ conservation of kangaroo was in news, or illegal trade of kangaroo was in news. So they did not ask any question on kangaroo, rather they asked question on marsupials, though it is not part of India's biodiversity. That is the reason we are taking this as a very important topic. There can be a possibility because the news is totally different. ಇದೇನು ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಚ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಥವಾ ರೀಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಏನೂ ಅಲ್ಲ. fossils ಏನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅದರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. So let's look into this topic now. Hope you got the relevancy of the topic. Okay. So what discovery of prehistoric ostrich shells in Andhra means? So recently ostrich shells were found in Andhra Pradesh, so a part of Andhra Pradesh. So how come we have this ostrich shells in Andhra Pradesh? And it is also 41,000-year-old ostrich nest. Andre, did we have ostriches in India? That is a question. We evidently know that it is definitely in Africa. We do not have in India. But how come we have this fossil? What does this signify? Another news here. So archaeologists in Prakasham, Andhra Pradesh have uncovered a 41,000-year-old ostrich nest, shedding light on ancient wildlife interactions. So there could be a possibility where we had ostrich before, but they went extinct because of the geographical changes. So this discovery offers significant clues about the historical disappearance of large animals, megafauna ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಮೆಗಾಫಾನಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ we have a list of megafauna which is being extinct now today. Now the question is, what is megafauna? ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮೆಗಾಫಾನಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಮೆಗಾ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ larger in size ಅಲ್ವಾ. Fauna means animals. So megafauna literally means that, or generally used to describe animals weighing more than 50 kg. Just remember this in mind. Okay. Which of this what species do we call as megafauna? The animals which weigh more than 50 kg. Okay. So it was long back used in 1800. One of the English naturalist and explorer coined this term megafauna to identify the ancient animals, especially animals, fauna, which is more than 50 kilograms. Okay. So megafauna ಕೆಳಗೇನು classification ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Megafauna can be based on their dietary type. There can be mega herbivores, mega carnivores, okay, and they can be mega omnivores also. ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇದೆ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಮೆಗಾಫೋನಾ ಹೇಳೋ ಬದಲು ಹರ್ಬಿವೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ 50 kg ಅಬೌವ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕಾರ್ನಿವೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ 50 kg ಅಬೌವ್ ಇದೆ. These are the classifications. So ಈಗ can you tell me ostrich comes under, if at all we consider it as a megafauna because it weighs more than 50 kg ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ, is it mega herbivores, carnivores or omnivores? These are the simple details we can expect that UPSC could ask. Apes ಸರಿ, these are birds. Okay, birds ಕೆಳಗೆ ಅದ್ರ ಡಯಟ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು ಡಯಟ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ these are birds only. Yes. Under birds, are they herbivores, carnivores, omnivores? What are they? What do you think they are? We think it could be herbivore, omnivores. Yes, it is omnivores. Okay. Athwa navu because it weighs more than 50 kg, andre literally an adult ostrich would weigh between 90 to 140 kg. That is the weight. So obviously it is a megafauna. Megafauna ಕೆಳಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ it comes under omnivores. The bird which is a megafauna which weighs more than 50 kg, that is 90 to 150, and it is an omnivorous bird, and its height it could reach up to 7 to 9 feet. ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಇರುವಂತ ನಾವು I'm not talking about prehistoric or ostrich. I'm talking about the current day or modern day ostrich, what we see typically in African savanna region. That is the size I'm talking about. So we bring this ostrich under the concept called as megafauna. Hope it is clear what is megafauna. Unearthed in Prakasam, Andhra Pradesh, a 41,000-year-old ostrich nest is providing vital insights into the extinction patterns of megafauna in the region. ಈಗ ಏನು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ, ಈ ಆಂಧ್ರ ಪ್ರದೇಶ ಪ್ರಕಾಶಂ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಅನ್ಅರ್ತ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಡಿಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರಿಚ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಆರ್ ಡಿಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮೆಗಾಫೋನಾ, ಅಥವಾ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿರುವಂತ ಮೆಗಾಫೋನಾ ಮುಂಚೆ ಇತ್ತ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ಸೈಟ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, that is the news all about. Now let's look into key points about ostrich. ಮುಂಚೆ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. I think I've told you the relevancy already. ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ಫ್ಲೋರಾ ಅಥವಾ ಫಾನಾ ಅಲ್ಲದಿದ್ರು ಯಾಕೆ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದ ರಿಲೆವೆನ್ಸಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾರು ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಾಕು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ to connect to current affairs. That's why we are learning this. Okay. So ostrich fossils were initially documented in 1884 from Dhok Patan deposits in Upper Shivalik Hills in Pakistan. 1884 allano we had this fossils in Pakistan very long back. Munchenu ide. Doesn't mean that this is the first time. Okay. Discoveries of ostrich fossils in Himalayas indicate past periods of drier, cooler climates due to weaker Indian monsoons contrasting with peninsular India during the Pleistocene. We call it as young fold mountains which are still growing, thriving, which are still growing. So munche weak monsoon iddaga, cooler climates, dry climates iddaga ostrich presence iddirbodu anta study heಳುತ್ತೆ. In 1989 ostrich eggshell beads and engravings dating from 50,000 to 40,000 years ago were found at Upper Paleolithic site in Patna in Maharashtra. So eggshell beads and engravings ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we are talking about people who have used in Upper Paleolithic, Upper Stone Age site ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ we have this documents of ostrich eggs engravings ಇದೆ. Okay, eggshell beads ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Evidence from 2017 shows that ostriches existed in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and around 25,000 years ago. Recent ಆಗಿ 25,000 years ಅಂದ್ರೆ comparatively there are evidences. Ostriches, so this is the evidences we have in India in the past. The article says about it. Now let's look into its basic protection status. Least concern, it is IUCN is least concern because we have enough ostrich population. It is not that it is endangered or something. The idea here is to identify, did we have such species in India? Okay, as I already mentioned, 90 to 160 kgs, or they grow up to 7 to 9 feet tall. These are the flightless birds. This is how what we have learned, right, in school level. Ostrich is a flightless bird, the bird which cannot fly, renowned for their running speed up to 43 miles per hour. The fastest running, we say. So the fastest running bird is ostrich at the correct. Native to African savanna and deserts. It is native there. Live in small herds, so they are not solitary. Okay, they live in herds, lesser than a dozen, like less than 12, led by males who primarily mate with the dominant female. So the herd, what we call about the ostrich, it is led by the male. So ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು details matter ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. It can be asked. Okay, that is how the question also been pattern has been asked in UPSC. So we are going through it in detail. Hope it is clear for you why it is in news and why we have to look into it in detail. Clear with this? Yes. So we will just take a 5-minute break. Okay. So then we will continue with the rest of the topics, few topics. Okay. We'll get back by 45, 40 or 45 we will get back. Just 7 minutes break will take. Let's go to next topic. It is regarding NTCA, okay, a National Tiger Conservation Authority. Where in the news, we can consider this under environment also again. So NTCA seeks action plan from states on relocation of villages from tiger reserves. Before we go to the news, let's have a quick brief about this authority itself. So NTCA is established under Wildlife Protection Act. So it is a statutory body. Okay. So National Tiger Conservation Authority is a statutory body which was established in the year 2006. We know that we have tiger reserves in India. So how many tiger reserves we have in India currently? Any idea? 54, huh? Okay. 53 or 54? 54, I guess. Okay. 55 agidya? Okay, maybe I'm not updated. For me, I think it is 53. Maybe you can check once again. 53. Okay, 54 means maybe I've not been updated, but as far as I remember, it is 53. So 53 tiger reserves there needs a conservation or management plan. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಂಡರ್ WPA ನ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ one of the chapters 54. Okay, let's take that updated number. I'm just taking it from you. You can also, if you can also tell me which is that 54th tiger reserve, if it is possible, you can tell me. So WPA na amend ಮಾಡಿ Wildlife Protection Act, Virangana Durgavati na. Okay, Virangana Durgavati, then it should be 53rd, I guess. Anyway, I leave it to you. You can check and update. Okay. Yes, Virangana Durgavati Tiger Reserve of Madhya Pradesh. That is what I remember as such. Yes. Now come back to NTCA. So National Tiger Conservation Authority was added under WPA by inserting the chapter 4B at the end now. Insert ಮಾಡಿ ಈ village NTCA na ತಂದ್ರು. So we know that the very saga or story of tiger reserve in India, wherein we had only like 1,000 odd tigers by 2000, early 2000s anta. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಈ tiger, though the tiger project tiger was launched in 1973 ಆದ್ರೂನು there were no much changes in the tiger revival of the tiger population. Maybe in somewhere in 2005 and 2006, this is where the significant era for the tiger conservation began, wherein NTCA was established as a statutory authority, and then we had the first tiger census, right? Tiger estimations shuru aitu. So once in 4 years we have tiger estimation that began. Then from then onwards we can see a significant rise in the tiger population. That is because of the efforts of NTCA. And it is not so very easy to manage the existence of or coexistence between people or human and tigers, because conflict can be an issue, land can be an issue, tribals living in the forest can be an issue. So there are multiple issues when it comes to conservation of the tigers. So prati varshanu ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷನೂ estimation ಇವಾಗ if I'm not wrong 2006 ಅಂದ್ರೆ 6th estimation or 5th estimation, 2022 was the latest estimation we have, if I'm not wrong. 22 the latest estimation, tiger estimation ಇದೆ. 2006 ಇಂದ 2022 ತನಕ ಎಷ್ಟು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳು ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಮೇ ಬಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಟೈಗರ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಸೊ ದಟ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನಫ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಹೋಲ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನಫ್ ಪ್ರೇ ಬೇಸ್. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಇರುವಂತ ಟೈಗರ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟರ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ದೇ ಯೂಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡ್ರೋನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಮರಾಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೇ ಡಿಗ್ ಅಪ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಪಾಂಡ್ಸ್ in particular place so that the tigers do not come out of the forest. So there are many initiatives like that. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟೈಗರ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ ರಿವೈವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ 50 ಟೈಗರ್ ರಿಸರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಈಗ ನಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ 4 ಆಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೀನ್ ಮೆನಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ NTCA. Okay, NTCA being a statutory body. Now coming back to the news here. Okay. NTCA has recently urged state wildlife departments to create a detailed timeline and action plan. Andre, NTCA is the statutory body. It has directed the state, all the state, to create action plans for a particular concept or for a particular program called as village relocation program. The plan plan focuses on relocating villages located within the core habitats of tigers. Now there are so many points, I mean so many micro topics to learn here. Let's learn one by one. Okay, first point is action plan ಕಳಿಸಬೇಕು ಎಲ್ಲ states action plan ಕಳಿಸಬೇಕು because we have this department at the state level or ministry also, so they have to send an action plan. ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ? Relocation of the villages. ಅಂದ್ರೆ if people and tigers coexist in the same landscape, you cannot actually make the tigers move because they are migratory in nature. So the better way is to relocate the village itself. Village is under the entire people. They are just moving out from the given area. So this is where the people live. People are asked to move away from the tiger reserve so that there are no human animal conflicts or tiger conflicts, and also where people do not enter the tiger reserve, there will be no wildlife crimes involved and all that. Other concept, relocation. Relocation is not very easy. The government cannot simply venture into a land or a forest area and ask people to leave the place, right? So maybe the tribals are associated there, or a community, or there could be a village, or there could be an agricultural land. So village relocation is quite a hassle. So ಇದಕ್ಕೊಂದು action plan ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ NTCA ಹೇಳಿದೆ. So the initiative aims okay, first let's look into core habitats. ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ relocate ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. We call it as core habitat. Now a tiger reserve is designed like this, or for example a model wherein it will be having two zones. Okay, core zone and buffer zone. Core zone is the main place wherein real or the actual tiger habitat occurs, and buffer zone is for their migration. Okay, buffer zone is for the migration. So this is where the tiger lives or possibly can be found. At times the tiger would come out of the forest, or it can even come out of the buffer zone because it is migratory in nature. Now according to the law, the core zone ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Okay, 55 tiger reserve. Fine. Okay, fine. Dholpur. So the core or the critical tiger habitat ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? These are the areas where it should be kept inviolated. Inviolated means no human activity should be allowed in this region. ಎಲ್ಲಿ core habitat ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Buffer zone ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ buffer zone ಅಲ್ಲಿ partial ಆಗಿ research and education, some part of tourism, ಈಗ safari ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ buffer zone ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲೋ ಇದೆ. Core zone ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. That is the idea. Okay, so ಇದು under the Amendment Act, or sorry, Wildlife Protection Act ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ವಿಲೇಜಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕೋರ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರನ್ನ ರಿಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತೆ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ಅಧಿಕಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ರಿಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ I usually mention this. It was people who were there first, then the tiger reserve was established. First tiger reserve establish ಮಾಡಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರು ಬರಲ್ಲ. Already people were there. Then because of the wilderness, because of the wild area, tiger might have ended up there, where it could be a prospective tiger reserve. So the government will establish considering the criteria depending upon the population of the tigers. Now people are affected there, then the government will ask the people to move away from the tiger reserve, or this is called as village relocation plan, wherein now that we have established, so can you please move out of the core area? Certain times people are reluctant. They are not at all ready for moving out from the village. So that is when they incentivize people. ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಜನರನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. Maybe their land is there, their ritual, culture, tradition, everything is there. Sometimes they simply don't want to go ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಜಾಗ ಅಂತ. ಆಗ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ತಗೋಬಹುದು ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಇದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. Hope it is clear. Okay, so this initiative aims to safeguard and enhance the conservation efforts for tigers in these critical areas. So conflict ಇರಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ನ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So let's see the features of ವಿಲೇಜ್ ರಿಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್. ಇದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಒಂದು ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ನಾನು ಏನು ಓದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. Okay, 55 good, it is 55 tiger reserves only. So the Wildlife Protection Act of 2006 stresses the importance of undisturbed areas to support viable tiger breeding population. As I told you, there are two zones, core zone and buffer zone. So core zone is basically called as undisturbed area. It is also called as critical tiger habitat ಅಥವಾ core zone ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Core or critical tiger habitat are designated areas within the tiger reserve kept undisturbed to ensure the survival of breeding tiger population. So NTCA focuses is on the 55 notified tiger reserve, which is good what you said is 55, where approximately 600 villages currently reside within core tiger habitat. So ಈ 55 tiger reserve ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ among at least 600 villages are part of this core area. So ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? So they should be relocated in order to avoid the conflict. Okay, so what are the initiatives government has taken to ask them to move out? ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಈ ರಿಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. Basically they call out for voluntary, ಅಂದ್ರೆ if there is no forcing or coercion or forcible eviction that is happening, voluntarily the people will be moving out of the village. Okay, and they will be compensated for the same. How it is done, we will see. So this program aims to empower local communities with access to development opportunities while creating undisturbed areas for tigers to thrive harmoniously. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ರಿಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಪರ್ಚುನಿಟೀಸ್ನು ಕೊಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್, ರಿಲೊಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಲಂಟರಿ and require informed consent from Gram Sabhas and affected families. Forest rights of scheduled tribes and other forest dwellers must be acknowledged and settled. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ WPA ಒಂದು ಲಾ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲಾ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ FRA ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. We will be learning that in class. We might have learned also Forest Rights Act of 2006. So ಈ evictions ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ WPA ಕೆಳಗೆ ಹೌದು, NTCA ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಇದೆ. Likewise, we also have to look into rights of these people. What if these people exercise their rights and say, we are the tribal communities, scheduled tribes, forest dwellers, we can live in the forest and we have all the rights and we have all the documents to claim our presence in the forest anta andaga ee voluntary village action plan work agalla, because they will bring out FRA to say that we are going to stay back here. There are many instances like that. See why people are reluctant, because from generations together they might have lived in the same place alva. So it is very difficult to send them out also. Adukkoskara government em madide, compensation options include 15 lakh per family in financial compensation or a resettlement package including land, housing, basic amenities ella kodtivi anta anbiಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಆಫರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ when there is a core problem wherein tigers have to be there and there is a increase in tiger population and there can be a chance of conflict among people and tigers, and then it will be a very difficult task for the forest department to manage it. That is when the government is offering this. If they are voluntarily leaving, it is well and good. There is no promise of giving every family 15 lakhs. But when they are reluctant and it is bound to happen, then or it has to happen, 15 lakhs compensation can be given. Then issues with the relocation plan. The NTCA's relocation package does not meet the legal standards outlined in the Land Acquisition Act of 2013. ಇದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಲಾನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಲಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ FRA ಜೊತೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಕ್ವಿಸಿಷನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಈ NTCA relocation package ಫ್ರೇಮ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. So there can be trouble with the land acquisition plan. So basically, even the people are ready to leave or even there is a compensation according to land acquisition, the tiger reserves may not be established or people are against it. There are a number of problems. Beyond this, NTCA has tried its best to rise the tigers population. We being a citizen sitting on the other side of the government, we can say that okay, in the tiger population, tiger illegal crime nadita ide, the wildlife crime nadita ide, athwa tigers are not in the tiger reserve, proper management ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. But it is actually a hassle. It is not so very easy as we see theoretically. So ಈ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಯಾಕೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಟೈಗರ್ ಎಸ್ಟಿಮೇಷನ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಈ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ. ವಿಲೇಜ್ ರಿಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ. ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. If people are living in core area of the or core zone of the tiger reserve, they are made to relocate by giving them compensation. There can be voluntary relocation also. It depends upon the people. So some does it and some still are reluctant to do it. This is the takeaway from this topic. Hope it is clear to you. So from this area, what we are going to understand is tiger is always a relevant topic. NTCA is a relevant topic. And also tiger conservation is always a relevant topic to the exam. Okay. So tiger reserves in general, that is very crucial. Then moving on to the next one, green funds was recently seen in news. We will see what does this green fund mean. So CPCB, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಂದು CPCB ಮತ್ತೊಂದು NGT. ಈಗಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು NTCA ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. The other two bodies, the other two very important organization when it comes to environmental conservation is CPCB and NGT. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ issue ಏನಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. The Central Pollution Control Board has diverted funds originally allocated for addressing air pollution to finance road repairs and paving works. So ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ actual fund allot ಆಗಿರೋದು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ? Air pollution ಗೆ. Sorry, has diverted funds originally allocated. Yes, actually allot ಆಗಿರೋದು fund air pollution ಗೆ, but CPCB ಅದನ್ನ hope I'm telling it right. CPCB ಅದನ್ನ road repairs ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು paving works ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು allegation ಯಾವ್ದು ಹೇಳಿದೆ? NGT. So NGT has raised serious concerns about this redirection of funds, describing it as a potential gross misuse and serious financial irregularity. So this is very common in environmental aspect. ಒಂದು ಫಂಡ್ ನಾವು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ಯಾನಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ರೋಡ್ ಅಂತ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ಆ ಫಂಡ್ ನ ಅದೇ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಡೈವರ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್. That is not only in CPCB. If you have heard about CAMPA, have you heard of Compensatory Afforestation Fund? Have you heard of this? CAMPA Act or CAMPA funds anta kelidira? What is it related to? Anyone? The diversion of funds are very common. Okay, what does that mean? How will they divert and what happens? No idea about CAMPA. Compensatory Afforestation Management Planning Authority andre ಏನಂತ? Okay, so see, anyway, let's just explain. The idea in here is ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಫಂಡ್ ನ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ NGT ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ NGT ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಾ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ವೆನ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆರ್ ಡೈವರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ and where there is felling of trees, clearing of vegetation, ಈ ಏನು ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಪನ್ಸೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ವೈಲ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಬೈ ಅಫಾರೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಫಂಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಇದೆ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಾ ಫಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅಥವಾ CAF ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ, ಕಾಂಪನ್ಸೇಟರಿ ಅಫಾರೆಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ವೈ ಆಮ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ as an example because ಈ ಫಂಡ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು? ಸ್ಯಾಪ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ, ಟು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮೋರ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್, ರೀಜನರೇಟ್ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ವೇರ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಆಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್. here also there is a huge concern wherein this fund what we use for afforestation ಇದನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಫಂಡ್ ನ ಈ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಟೈಗರ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಚುರೀಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಇವನ್ ರೋಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಸೊ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ವೇರ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಡೈಲಿ ಲೈಫ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಮೇ ಬಿ to buy something, investment or something. Okay, ಈ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಬೇರೆ ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಮೇ ಬಿ ಫಾರ್ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ವಿ ಮೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಸ್ ಸೊ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಡೈವರ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ದ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಹಿಯರ್. ದ ಸೇಮ್ ಅಲಿಗೇಷನ್ ಇಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಪೋಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ NGT ಆನ್ CPCB ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಫಂಡ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ ರೋಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಪೇರ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. CPCB ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಫಂಡ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ CPCB is one such organization wherein it focuses on regulating or it is a statutory body ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Both are statutory body. Okay, CPCB is a statutory body whereas NGT is also a statutory body. So CPCB is a statutory organization which was constituted in 1974. So when we say a statutory body, it should be constituted under an act. So which act we are talking about? It is Water Act of 1974. So under Water Act of 1974, CPCB was established or constituted, and some other functions were added under Air Act also, Air Act of 1981. So these two are the prominent acts where CPCB is formed. Idu one kade where is a statutory body. Innond kade we have NGT which is constituted in the year 2010 by its own act. Idu yav act kelge baralla, National Green Tribunal Act of 2010 kelgene constitute agiruvantaddu idu NGT. So NGT is a quasi judicial body, like a court, a special court which adjudicates environmental issues. Okay, so ಇದೆರಡು ಈ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ನಾವು ಈಗ NGT ನು ಫಂಡ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, CPCB ನು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. CPCB ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ವೆನ್ it collects penalties for violation against air pollution norms, Water Act norms, rules and regulations. ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಏರ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇದ್ದಾಗ CPCB ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿ ಟು ಪೀನಲೈಸ್ ದ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆರ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ದ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಆ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ? ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಆರ್ ಎಂಟಿಟಿ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ವೈಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ನಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ರೋಡ್ಸ್ ರಿಪೇರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್. Because NGT also does the same thing. And it does the same thing, it also penalizes. It also has its own fund. When it penalizes or it slaps fine on maybe state governments or individuals or organizations, it do collect penalties and it will utilize for the same. It has to go like this. So adu concern illi. Adre namge take away ಏನಾಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. CPCB ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ಅದರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುವಂತ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದು, ಅದರದ್ದು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಅಥವಾ NGT ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, NGT ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಇಷ್ಟು ನಿಮ್ದು ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇ. ಇದು ನಮ್ದು ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಕ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲರ್ನ್ ಇನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಬಟ್ ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಗಾಟ್ ದಿ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ದ ಐಡಿಯಾ. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ದಿಸ್. The Environment Protection Charge, EPC, is levied at 1% on diesel vehicles with an engine capacity of 2000 cc or above in Delhi NCR, mandated by 2016 Supreme Court order. So ಒಂದು ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಎಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, EPC ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನ 2000 cc ಇರುವಂತ ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್, ಎಂಜಿನ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇರುವಂತ ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು 2016 ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. Environment compensation funds are collected from penalties imposed by NGT and administered by CPCB. So ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, EPC ನ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ CPCB ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ NGT ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ EC ಅಂತ, ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಕಾಂಪನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಫಂಡ್ ನ CPCB ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಅದು ಏನೇನು ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಯಾವ ಮೆಜರ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಬಹುದು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ CPCB is not using that. Hope you got the point. Originally intended for addressing air pollution and environmental concerns, these funds have come under legal scrutiny due to recent allocation towards road works. The CPCB asserts that road repairs and paving work play a direct role in reducing dust pollution, a major contributor to urban air quality. ಈಗ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದೆ CPCB ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಏನು? NGT ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ? ಅಲಿಗೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ನಾವು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ ದುಡ್ಡು ಯಾಕೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಾ ಅಂತ. CPCB ಏನಂತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಾವು ರೋಡ್ ರಿಪೇರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದು ಯಾಕೆ? ಡಸ್ಟ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಡಸ್ಟ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಏನು? ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಟು ಏರ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆನ್ ದ ರೈಟ್ ಪಾತ್ ಅಂತ CPCB ಆರ್ಗ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್, ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಪೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್. Okay, so according to CPCB, I'll just read it for you. I'm just explaining the last point. According to CPCB, allocating funds to these activities is in line with the fund why they have collected. ಅವ್ರು ಏನೇ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ರೋಡ್ ರಿಪೇರ್ಗೆ, ಅದು ಏರ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ಡೈವರ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ CPCB ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಹೋಪ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದ ವೆರಿ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಟ್ರಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟು ಯು ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಹೌ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಅಥಾರಿಟೀಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್, though they come under the same ministry, environment ministry ಕೆಳಗೇನೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, but they are administered under different act. NGT is like a court, CPCB like an organization which administers the functions related to environment. Okay, so some of the major idea about NGT is like we'll be learning in class anyway, but still to brief out, some of them have learned it. Namgika main agi tribunal, it is in New Delhi. New Delhi alide, matte adu bitre Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata, Chennai alla bere bere sitting benches ide. Nantara the tribunal can give order, but adu mandate order alla. If NGT is actually slapping a fine on particular organization or a state government, the state government or that person can review the order of the NGT in Supreme Court. One of the features, major features. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು quasi judicial body ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So what you have to do is, ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ NGT ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಬಂದಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್, even though it is very simple, go through it. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ NGT ದು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಏನು, ಅದರ ಅಥಾರಿಟಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Hope it is clear. Okay, then we move on to science and tech. Axiom 4 mission ಅಂತ recently news ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು. We will see that. Why it is important? Because it is about the Gaganyaan. Okay, Gaganyaan, the space mission from India. That's why we are knowing about this. So what is the speciality about this news here? The idea here is 2 Indian astronauts trained by ISRO for Gaganyaan have been chosen for Axiom 4 mission to the ISS, collaborating with NASA. So actually the mission Axiom 4 is under NASA, and the 2 astronauts, Indian astronauts, who have been trained under Gaganyaan. What is Gaganyaan? India the Gaganyaan ಏನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? What is the idea here? Yes, India Gaganyaan is nothing but human space flight, alva, sending humans to space, human beings to space. So ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 2 astronaut ನ ಈ ಮಿಷನ್ ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. So Axiom 4 is about NASA. So ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ objective ಏನು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. The mission objective is to dock with ISS and remain there for a 14-day duration. Okay, 14-day duration. ISS ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ISS ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಇವಾಗ? ISS ಅಂದ್ರೆ International Space Station. Okay, sending them there under the mission called as Axiom 4. So the mission's objective is to dock with ISS and remain there for a 14-day duration. Indian astronauts will undergo training from NASA and international partners and SpaceX. SpaceX, we know it is about, it is of Elon Musk's international partners, ಬೇರೆ countries ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ಮತ್ತು NASA ಇದರ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಗೆ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕೆ. So this training will emphasize spacecraft systems and emergency preparedness, aligning with the space cooperation goals between India and the United States. So there one is the mention of Gaganyaan. Astronauts from Gaganyaan are going to ISS, that is International Space Station, under the mission called as Axiom 4. Axiom 4 is the mission under NASA, and this actually strengthens the space related relations with or between India and the US. Adu idea illi. Iga now let's look into what is this ISS, what is so special about ISS and what is it, and what is the importance or significance of venturing into IAS and especially the Indians being there. Okay, let's look into the main points about what is ISS and the International Space Station. You ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಆದ್ರೂ we will let's brief it up. So the ISS is a sizable laboratory that orbits Earth at an altitude of 400 kilometers. Go through the specific details. ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. ISS ಏನು ಅಲ್ಲ, it is a laboratory. It is a lab, a space lab ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬಹುದು ನಾವು. Okay, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಿದ್ದು? At an altitude of 400 kilometers, serving a permanent habitat for astronauts and cosmonauts. ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಕಾಸ್ಮೋನಾಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಕಾಸ್ಮೋಸ್, ಸ್ಟಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಸ್ಮೋ, ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೋನಾಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ astronomy ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಓದನ್ನು ನಾವು both we call them cosmonauts and astronauts. It functions as a unique scientific laboratory where research spans various disciplines such as medicine, technology, science and exploration of Earth and the universe. So ಇದೊಂದು ಲ್ಯಾಬ್, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ಸ್. ಆದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲ. Everybody are not here. I mean, of course, India do not have its lab set up in ISS, but ನಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಇದೊಂದು ಪ್ರಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, Indians going to ISS itself is a big thing because you can see the country's flag here. Only these countries are part of it. Okay, so the collaborative effort involves 15 countries. The ISS to collaborative effort is to 15 countries. Illiruvanta ella countries, you can recognize the map also. Ishtralli 5 major space agencies illi establish madide. Adanna ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಬೇಕು. ಯಾವುದೆಲ್ಲ? NASA. Okay, then we have Russia's Roscosmos, European Space Agency, JAXA, that is Japan's, then Canadian Space Agency. Okay, US, Russia, Europe, Japan, Canada. ಈ 5 countries prominent space agency ಇಲ್ಲಿ ISS ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಇನ್ನು 10 countries ISS part ಆಗಿದೆ, wherein India is not part of it. And the takeaway should be, where is this ISS located? At the altitude of 400 kilometers. What is the name of the mission by NASA? Axiom 4, wherein the Gaganyaan astronauts are sent to this mission. Hope it is clear. ಇಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. Okay, ಸೊ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಹುದು. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್ ಗಗನ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ವಿ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಆಫ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ಡ್ ಫ್ಲೈಟ್ಸ್. Manned flights or the launch of manned flights follows 2 successful unmanned missions also later. Within ಒಂದು 2025 ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸಿಬಲಿ ಗಗನ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ we are yet to see that. Until then, whatever news on Gaganyaan, you can keep a tab on it or make note of it. Okay, then we'll speak about the defense now. One indigenous light tank named as Zoravar anta ಒಂದು ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅನ್ವೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So let's look into it. So recently DRDO and Larsen and Toubro, along with contributions from MSMEs, that is micro, small and medium enterprises, have unveiled India's indigenous light tank prototype named Zoravar. It is currently undergoing extensive trials. So Zoravar anta ಹೆಸರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ just remember it is a light tank under defense, under DRDO. So developed in response to the ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2020 ಚೈನಾ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಲಡಾಖ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದರಿಂದ the tank meets the Army's RFI issued in April 2021 for 350 lightweight tanks weighing under 25 tons. ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಫಿಗರ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಅದರ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನೋ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ Zoravar. ಅದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತದ್ದು, DRDO ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಲೈಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್, ಅಷ್ಟು ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಬೇಡ. The Zoravar light tank's design enables air transportability, high angle firing capability, and limited artillery roles, enhancing tactical and operational mobility. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ರೀಸನ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಚೈನಾ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಏರ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಫೈರಿಂಗ್ ಕೇಪಬಿಲಿಟಿ. ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ದಿ ಎನಿಮಿ ಕೌಂಟರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್, ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕರ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೈ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಅನ್ವೀಲ್ಡ್ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ, ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಜಿನಸ್ಲಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಡ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾನ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ಅಂತ. These are the key points. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, only for your understanding. ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದರ ಹಾರ್ಸ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಮಷೀನ್ ಗನ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಏನು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದೆಲ್ಲ it matters here. Okay, it is in collaboration with L&T with DRDO. Okay, 2021 ಅಲ್ಲಿ army issued this 350 light tanks weighing less than 25 tons. ಯಾಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಲೈಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? Because of its weight. The design of these light tanks allows for air transport, high angle firing, and limited artillery capabilities. Okay, so anywhere till now, even if it is asked about defense, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಟ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವೆಪನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನೇ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ we do not have any specific details been asked. ಏನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಡಿಫೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಕ್ವಿಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ, even if it is a direct question. So ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸಲ ಇದು ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ we should be knowing under what category it falls under. Okay, ಅದು ಒಂದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಉಳಿದಿರುವಂತದ್ದು ನೀವೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದ್ರೆ, I just wanted to remind you one thing, that is in the recent past ಒಂದು 4-5 years ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ನೇವಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸರ್ಸೈಸ್ ಕೇಳಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. 2024 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಇತ್ತು, ರೈಟ್, ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ I think one of the ಮಿತ್ರ ಶಕ್ತಿನ some question was there regarding the naval military exercises. It was not at all asked, but again it is resurfacing. Adu ಒಂದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು important current affairs ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. Military exercise between any two countries, maybe India Bangladesh, India US, India Australia, ಆ ರೀತಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತು ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಿಲಿಟರಿ ಆರ್ಮಿ, ನೇವಲ್, ಏರ್ ಇದರದು exercises which is recently done. Look into it. Okay, maybe if I found one recently in the news, I thought I'll just mention it to you because it is very factual based. So this is what we have for today, mostly. So we are done with for today's class. As I did not have any proper network, I had to switch off the camera. That's the thing. Hope there was no audio issues and you followed the class. If you have any questions, you can ask, or else we will wind up for the day. Anything? Okay. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next class. And this has been shared. Notes has been shared. They will share it to you shortly. Okay. Okay. See you in the next class. Take care. Thank you so much. There is a question if there is any alternative if you miss out on this one, newspaper, right? Alternative annadilla, you have to read newspaper anyway. Miss out adrunu maybe at the end of the time, I mean you revision ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, when you revise just before the exam, that is when you can go through compilations possible. Compilation you don't start now itself because it will be too bulky for you. ಎಷ್ಟು ಆಗುತ್ತೋ don't skip reading newspapers, keep reading newspapers. If at all you are missing out on something, you can go through the weekly compilations whichever it is provided by the academy or whichever website is convenient for you. That is what I would say. So don't worry about missing out. We would miss out in some or the other way. All that we have to do is keep question paper in tandem with your preparation, and the topics where it is very relevant, adana you miss out madadidre saku. That is what I can tell you. Okay, as of now, keep reading newspapers, and if at all you miss out on something, maybe when you revise you can go through compilations, then you can compensate. Okay, but what I suggest is don't miss out reading on newspaper. That's what. Okay. So we'll wind up. I'll meet you in the next class. Okay, thank you. Regarding case strategy. Okay, we'll see in the next class. Possibly, I don't think so. I can do it. If you have a better alternative from the academy, you can approach the academy. We will see what we can do. But that's why I even in the topics also I do mention that this is a topic of both UPSC and KPSC. Mention ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಲ್ವಾ? So other I can do it, but overall strategy could be. I don't think so. I can do it in the current affairs session, but we will see. In between, I could give you some suggestions and tips according to the topics. That's the possible thing I can do. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Then see you.